Bubba Wallace thought he had delivered one of the biggest results of his 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season. After surviving a chaotic, rain-delayed Quaker State 400 at Echo Park Speedway, the number 23 Toyota crossed the finish line in second place, giving 23XI Racing what looked like a crucial boost in the playoff battle. But the celebration lasted only seconds. NASCAR officials quickly reviewed the final lap and ruled that Wallace had driven below the double yellow line while fighting for position. The penalty instantly dropped him from second to 29th, wiping away valuable championship points and turning a career-defining finish into one of the most controversial moments of the season. As fans erupted with mixed reactions and the NASCAR garage tried to understand the decision, an even bigger story was quietly unfolding behind the doors of 23XI Racing. The race itself had already been unforgettable long before the controversy began. A lengthy rain delay pushed the finish into the early hours of the morning, creating one of the most dramatic events of the season. Blaney controlled much of the race, winning the pole, sweeping both stages, and leading the most laps. But the final lap changed everything. As Blaney and Carson Hocevar battled for the lead, Bubba Wallace saw a narrow opening and made an aggressive move to keep his championship hopes alive. For a brief moment, it looked like the gamble had paid off. Instead, that split-second decision became the center of NASCAR's biggest debate, leaving fans, drivers, and even rival teams arguing over whether the punishment truly fit the move. Once the race ended, Bubba Wallace wasn't ready to simply walk away from the decision. He immediately joined crew chief Charles Denny and key members of 23XI Racing to carefully review every replay, every piece of available data, and the timing of his final lap move. Wallace believed the evidence supported his argument that he never intentionally tried to gain an unfair advantage. According to him, the car became loose entering the corner, forcing him to get on the brakes instead of accelerating toward the front. He maintained that he was trying to regain control rather than complete a pass. After reviewing the situation, Wallace and team representatives met with NASCAR officials in hopes of overturning the ruling. The discussion lasted several minutes, but once it ended, NASCAR confirmed that the penalty would remain in place. What had looked like one of the biggest finishes of Wallace's season had officially turned into one of the most disappointing moments of his year. As the controversy spread across the NASCAR world, league officials publicly explained exactly why they believed the penalty was justified. NASCAR argued that the double yellow line rule is one of the sport's most important safety regulations because it prevents drivers from using the apron as a passing lane during high-speed superspeedway races. Officials also stated that the rule is based on attempting to improve position, not necessarily completing a pass. Even if a driver is only briefly ahead or creates an advantage by going below the line, the violation still applies. That explanation immediately divided the NASCAR community. Many fans agreed the officials simply enforced a rule that has existed for years, while others believed Wallace was trying to avoid losing control and that dropping him from second all the way to 29th was far too severe for the circumstances. One of the most balanced opinions came from Denny Hamlin, who found himself in a difficult position because he was involved from two completely different perspectives. As a veteran Cup Series driver, he understood exactly how the rule works because he had experienced a similar penalty during his own career. As co-owner of 23XI Racing, he also understood the frustration inside the organization after losing such a valuable finish. Hamlin admitted that when he first watched the replay, he expected NASCAR to issue the penalty because history suggested officials would stay consistent with previous rulings. However, he also defended Wallace's instincts, explaining that when drivers see an opportunity to fight for victory on the final lap, they react in a split second without having time to calculate every possible consequence. According to Hamlin, that competitive instinct is what makes NASCAR so exciting, even when it leads to painful outcomes. Away from the cameras, the focus shifted from the controversial call itself to what was happening inside 23XI Racing. Reports suggested that team executives, engineers, and competition leaders conducted a detailed internal review of the entire incident, carefully analyzing every decision made during the closing laps. Rather than reacting emotionally, the organization reportedly wanted to understand exactly what happened and identify ways to prevent similar mistakes in future superspeedway races. The discussions were said to center on communication between the driver and the pit box, late race decision-making, and balancing aggression with championship strategy when every point matters. Some reports also claim that internal disciplinary measures, including financial consequences tied to the lost result, were considered, although those details have never been officially confirmed by the team. Despite the disappointment, multiple reports indicated that 23XI Racing never questioned Wallace's future with the organization. Instead, the message inside the team was reportedly one of accountability and improvement. With the playoffs approaching, everyone understood that dwelling on one painful night would accomplish nothing. The only way forward was to learn from the mistake, regroup quickly, and make sure similar situations would not cost the team valuable points again. As news of the penalty spread, the reaction across the NASCAR community became almost as dramatic as the race itself. Social media quickly turned into a battleground, with thousands of fans debating whether NASCAR had made the right decision. Supporters of Wallace argued that he was simply fighting for the best result possible after surviving one of the toughest races of the season. They believed the punishment was unnecessarily harsh and erased an outstanding drive over a split-second judgment call. Others strongly disagreed, pointing out that the double yellow line rule has been part of NASCAR for decades and applies equally to every driver regardless of the situation. Several analysts and former competitors also weighed in, with opinions split over whether the officials had protected the integrity of the rulebook or taken away one of the sport's most exciting finishes. The debate became even more intense because the incident happened during a crucial stage of the championship, where every single point can shape the playoff picture. Long after the checkered flag, the conversation continued to dominate NASCAR headlines, making it one of the most talked about controversies of the 2026 season. Now, all eyes are on Bubba Wallace and what comes next. The second-place finish is gone, the championship points cannot be recovered, and the controversy has already become one of the defining stories of the 2026 NASCAR season. But while fans continue debating the penalty, Wallace and 23XI Racing have no choice but to focus on what lies ahead. The regular season is entering its most important stretch, and every remaining race could determine whether the number 23 team enters the playoffs with confidence or finds itself fighting for survival until the very end. The margin for error is now far smaller than it was before the penalty, meaning every position gained on the track and every championship point will carry enormous value. The pressure is no longer just about winning races. It is about responding to adversity when the entire NASCAR world is watching. Every move Wallace makes over the coming weeks will be closely analyzed by fans, media, and rival teams eager to see how he handles this setback. For 23XI Racing, the mission is equally important. The organization must prove that one controversial finish will not distract the team from its championship goals or damage the progress they have made throughout the season. Instead of allowing frustration to take over, the focus now shifts toward execution, consistency, and avoiding the costly mistakes that have hurt them at crucial moments. Whether fans agree with NASCAR's decision or believe the punishment was too severe, one thing is certain: the ruling cannot be changed. The only thing that can change is the story that follows. If Bubba Wallace responds with strong performances, climbs back into contention, and secures his place in the playoffs, this incident may eventually be remembered as the turning point that sparked a comeback rather than the moment that derailed his season. In NASCAR, reputations are built not by avoiding adversity, but by how drivers respond when everything seems to be working against them. The next few races will reveal whether Wallace can transform one of the toughest nights of his career into the beginning of an even stronger finish to his 2026 campaign.